I'm with you in a minute. There's like a little quiz at the end of these Zoom meetings. There's 7 of them, and you get full credit just by entering 3 numbers. So I'm gonna give you the first one. So you got a pen, write it down. The first number is 434. Okay. Everybody got that? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
434. I'll give you the second one in the middle of the meeting and the third one at the end. And then you'll enter them right at the end. I'll show you how to do that. It's real simple. And then you get, it's 3 points. That's for those that aren't here, that they'll have to go back and watch the video and then actually earn their, 15 free points. That way, that's the reason I do them in the middle, the beginning, the middle, and the end, because you kind of have to, I know you can scroll through it, but that way they at least have to spend a minute or two to do that, because these are recorded and then I download them, etc. So what I'm going to do right now first is show you, we're going to do a little screen share. You probably see a solitaire game. I'm going to open up. Okay, this doesn't end the meeting though. It's this is section 71. Some people are in section 72. Some are in section 01. That's fine. They're all the same. Now, if you go, like anytime you go to Canvas, because all your assignments are done in Canvas, the home page, there's what I feel like all kinds of interesting stuff. I like to put in some things that are sort of unusual for Canvas. And if you spend some time looking at this site, I think you'll be surprised. Like, for example, this document right here, there's a bonus. It's not part of the test, but there's a bonus assignment, if you'll notice that. I'll show you that in a minute. And I know this is a bit facetious. I'm not trying to be arrogant. But when it says the most complete and summarized list of items that you will find in one place, I mean that. I'm talking about anywhere on the internet, WebMD, you name it. This is just for your information. You want to download this and print it out? It's 181 pages. I wouldn't do it because that's too much paper, but you can save it to your computer. But in the digital form, like right here, a lot of these are little YouTube videos. Some are from other places like water vitamins, etc. Here you go. This is it right here. For example, if you want to know about vitamins, say you're taking D3, the red means it has vitamin status. The rest of these actually are vitamins, but they're not part of the technical 13 vitamins. I click on that. It depends on your screen monitor. You're going to be looking at it. It might be a little bit different than mine. There's some information. There's a video, vitamin D3, a couple of videos, and it talks about what it is, etc. I don't expect you to know any of this. It's just for your information. You might say, hey, vitamin Q? I've never heard of that. So click on vitamin Q. It's not technically a vitamin, but it's called CoQ10. Some people have probably heard of CoQ10. Sometimes called vitamin Q. This guy, he's good. He talks about what it is and the sources of it. Even though it's not a vitamin, it's got a lot of things in it. But anyway, that's just a vitamin document. There's a mineral document on it, and there's a bonus thing on the grades. But now, anyway, so not to get too complicated. So we're at the home page right here. All of this stuff over here is navigation. You don't necessarily have to use any of it, but the main one is modules over here on the left. I click on modules. Modules are weekly. They're done by week. And this stuff up here where it says all recorded Zoom meetings, current and past, this one tonight's going to be recorded and I know how to do this computer stuff. Like, for example, what is that, 16? You click on that, here's the meeting. You have 3 options. This link will take you to my YouTube channel. People go, wow, you have a YouTube channel. I'm like, a 6-year-old can set up a YouTube channel. Never mind. Anyway, and this takes you to the Zoom website. You can watch it there. But I actually download the whole video and tweak it and add some things and close caption and put it right here. For example, like the last meeting I had, I taught during the summer, this one right here, like July 27th. Say you missed one of the Zoom meetings. Click this. Now remember, this will take you to YouTube. So you have to kind of log back into the website. This takes you to the Zoom website, but this is the actual video right here. 55 minutes long, you click that. So anybody that misses the meeting, mainly to get the 3 codes. One of the things I want to point out on this goes back a couple of years that I've been teaching online. This one is important. This one, Q&A, and all other meetings has test information. Chapter test number 1 review, right here. These are really short, but that takes you to the Zoom website, cloud. It's Zoom, just a Zoom. You've heard of Zoom everywhere now. But that has like all kinds of hints for test number 1. It's worth watching before you take test number 1. But anyway, let's go back to modules. We're in the modules section. So we're in week number 1. Now, like expectations, goals, I have to put all that in here. But the assignments that have grades associated with it are these that have points, like points here, points here. Just these 2, right here. This one tonight is 15 points. You'll get 100% on that because I'm going to give you all 3 codes. This is nothing. You click on it. It's just like an intro. It's a little discussion. Just read the directions and reply. Do what it says. This takes maybe 20 minutes. And then you're done for this week, the easiest week. All of the weeks begin Sunday at midnight and end Sunday at midnight. So you have till Sunday at midnight to complete these 2. I mean, you could enter the codes Sunday at midnight, but you wouldn't want to. You should do it after the meeting. The first test is not, I don't think, until week 6. Yeah, week 6, September 26th. So you got a month. You got a month to get the book, which is free at Valley. All books are free this semester. The bookstore is supposed to have it. I ordered it months ago. You can get an ebook or a hard copy. You might be able to get both. I've talked to the publisher. I've talked to Valley. I've emailed them. Students say, well, they don't have it. They don't have the code. Keep bugging the bookstore because I don't control that. Because the tests are open book and open notes. I mean, you can make it closed book and closed notes. You're on the computer anyway. I mean, goodness. I mean, how are you going to monitor that? There are programs that do it, but I'm not going to run it like a Nazi concentration camp where you have a camera following you around and stuff like that. Some people actually do that. I'm not going to do that. Now, the main thing you need to be doing during this week and next week up to the first test, and the hardest part of the class, it's not hard, but it's the one that takes the most time, is the study guides. Now, these PowerPoints, those are for your information. You can use them on the test if you want. I mean, you take the test online, it's kind of hard to switch back and forth. Maybe if you have 2 computers, like a laptop, and then another one, you could have one open to the ebook and one open to the test. I mean, you could do that. But the main thing, scrolling down through here, are these study guides. This is open. It was actually closed earlier. The students this morning said, hey, that's closed. But you click on this, study guide number 1. You can download this right here. And this is a study guide right here. It has all, here's the questions. That's for test number 1 or chapter number 1. The tests are made from the study guides, and you can use the study guides on the test. You work the study guides, you're working the test. If you have your study guides ready to go, you will make a decent grade on the test. I have a lot of high grades. This summer I had a class of 31. I had 17 people make an A. That's unheard of. And it's not because I just gave it to them. It's because they did the work. They did the study guides. They did the bonus points. There's all kinds of bonus points. Now, going back over here, click on this. It takes you to the class again. Now there's a bunch of study guides. If you notice, wow, there look like 25 study guides or 20. That may be true. Don't do them by yourself. It takes too long. In fact, if you know somebody's had me before and they have the study guides, I don't care if you get them from them. But over here where it says Conference Zoom, that's Community College Zoom, I don't know why they had to make a separate one for community colleges. I guess they think community college instructors don't know Zoom. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, that's called Conference Zoom. If I click on that, every Wednesday, beginning this Wednesday, 3 to 6 p.m., and this is all optional. If you click on this, that opens a Zoom meeting. And other students from this class that do this, there might be 2 there might be 3. Maybe you can't be there until like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, or, 3:30. What you can do, it's just like the meeting we're having now, is you can chat with each other, you can use your video or camera. I set these up so you could work on the study guides together. You don't even have to stay there very long. You can say, hey, I'll do like these 2. If there's like 5 or 6 people, you say, hey, you do these 2, I'll do these 2, you do these 2, and then email them to each other. Does everybody see that? Somebody say yes or no. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
You can hear? Okay, good. Sometimes one time I talked for like 30 minutes and my mic was off the whole time. That's because I wasn't checking the messaging. But that's every Wednesday. So like this Wednesday, there's this session. Now, I don't know, hopefully you'll have access to the book by then and the ebook. Maybe not, I don't know, but you need the book to work on the study guides. By the way, it's the 2nd edition of the book, and it's on the website, but the 1st edition will probably work okay. It's not quite as good, but it's okay. But if you go to like eBay and type in the name of the book, I see people selling this book, used book, for like $10, $15. I mean, it's amazing. I'm going to show you right real quick here. Let me open another browser. I'm afraid I'll close the meeting if I do this. Now, eBay links to all these websites that sell books, like half.com and Amazon. I hate to make the multi-billionaire owner of eBay richer, but it's still the cheapest place to get stuff. That's just a little political thing I have. I don't care. I don't get into politics. I don't care if somebody's Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter to me. But somebody worth billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. There's something wrong with our system where somebody can make that much money. That's not my money. It's their money. They earned it. Understand that. When other people can barely pay their rent, I mean, that just seems odd to me. When you got so much money that you can spend $200 million, fly a rocket ship into space and stay there 13 minutes and fly back down. I was just thinking, with 200 million, you could buy like 800 houses at $250,000 each. 800 houses for people, permanent. Yet you got to go into space for 13 minutes just for your fun of it, because you're worth $150 billion. Never mind, that's a different issue. But anyway, that's not a political issue. That's actually the way I feel. But the name of this book is Nutrition. It's in the website. Nutrition for Changing the World. It's the 2nd edition. So I'm typing this in on eBay. I'm just saying what's there. Look at this. Can you guys see this? See this price? 99 cents. I can guarantee you they can't, it's got to be shipping. Oh, $4 for shipping. Nutrition for Changing the World with the code. But you get the books for free anyway. But I'm saying if you're like, you don't want to mess with the bookstore and it's like, it's taken too long for them to get you the e-code and you want a hard copy of the book, I don't know if they only give you the code to put in to get the ebook, but sometimes it's good to have a hard copy. Look at this, $7. Last one, Nutrition for a Changing World. And this is all from eBay. Here's one for $12. I wouldn't spend this, not if you can get it for free. But if you get it for, $15, it might be worth it. That's free shipping, that's another $5. Because some people like to have the ebook and the hard copy of the book. Does everybody see this? And that way, because somebody told me, the bookstore said, oh, it's going to be a few weeks before we get the codes and the books. Anybody tried to get the book yet? Does anybody have it?
I have the book. I paid a little over $100 for mine.
Oh, it's free though. It's free.
Yeah.
Oh.
I bought it before I knew it was free.
Oh, well, oh my, did you get it from the bookstore or somewhere else?
I got it from Amazon.
Oh, well, sorry about that.
It's okay.
But at least you got the book. But
I
anyway,
have.
these like for $14, I wouldn't 30. Don't spend 30 if you can get it for free. Sometimes if you want to go ahead and get it, you can do that. But the bookstore, keep bugging the bookstore and say, I thought we could get the E-code and that kind of stuff, because that is that's what they're doing. But these Wednesday conference Zoom meetings, 3 to 6. Get with somebody. Don't do all the study guides yourself. It takes too long. Now, on the study guides, you will notice that some of the answers are vague, like it'll say vitamin C is, and there's no choices. Well, I don't give you the exact, I kind of hint. So if you say, well, what is it? On that one, I know what it is. It's water soluble, because the tests are all, there's no, I don't grade on writing ability, and it's A, B, C, D, true, false. And you get 2 chances on every test. You won't need to, but you get 2 in case you mess up on the first one. If you mess up on the first one, you probably didn't have all your study guides done. So you get your study guide, you get your book, you're good to go. So like vitamin C is, and students will say, well, I don't know what. Well, I say just jot a few notes on the study guide. Say it's a water-soluble vitamin, put a couple of notes about vitamin C. I mean, it's open book anyway, but there's 100 questions and you get 100 minutes. So you're not gonna have time to look up every question. You actually have time to look up quite a few, but 95% of the test is from the study guide. And people say, well, I don't need the book then. No, you don't. But the study guides, you need the book to work the study guides. That's what I'm saying. You might could get all those answers off the internet, but I'm not really sure. I don't know. On the study guides, you start typing them in. It might link you to certain things where the answer might be different. But every Wednesday, see if I go Wednesday, see there's the next Wednesday, 3 to 6. And believe it or not, it goes past 6 and you can probably log in before 2. But I just put a regular time so that you would know if there's somebody else there. You can stay there the whole time if you want, or you can just stay there a few minutes, say, hey, I'm gonna work this one, you work this one, you work this one. You can also do this in chat. Go to chat and people, if you go to people, there's, I think it gives you their email. I'm not sure, I don't know, let's see what it does. People, yeah, it tells you who's in the class, but, and I don't know. Emails, I don't know. I think you can can't you get other students' emails somewhere? You may be able to, I don't know. But anyway, so let's go back to modules. Remember, if you get lost, always go to modules. Everything is here. I mean, everything that's over here is in here. And a lot of this is just FYI, just for your information. There's announcements. If you miss an announcement, of course, you can go to announcements and they're there, but I made a separate thing on announcements that have old ones say, oh, I want to go back to, I missed an announcement a while back. But the study guides are in the modules, but these modules only open up each week. So if you download them from here, that's fine, but you can go to the bottom and get them all right now. They're all open. The only difference, I'm going fast. The only difference is that these actually have an online version too, like study guide chapter 1. This is if you don't want to download it, this is it right here. But this, I think you should download it. You can download it by clicking here too, because this isn't going to help you on the test. This doesn't have any answers, but this is the same study guide. So go back to modules. And there's all kinds of, we go back to grades. Now it's going to show people's grades up to this point, no big deal. Some people have actually already done this assignment. This means it's been done and it's worth 20 points. If you just do what it says. I don't grade you on your writing ability, but if it says reply to 2 students, then do that. And if you tell what it says right here, you'll get all 20 points. It won't say 20 points until not Sunday night, Monday morning, because you have the whole week to complete it. I mean, I could grade this one and this one and this one, but then these people here would be missing. They have these people right here have turned them in already, which is good. And then you click on that assignment. You can go to the assignments through grades or through modules. Like this one right here, get to know your neighbors, introductions. Tell us about yourself, and I think it says reply to 2 other students. Yeah, because see, there you go. People are doing that. I can read that. I think you can read that. That was a funny. Did anybody watch this video of the bomb, the fake bomb? No. Anyway, that's just like my introduction. I'm from A&M, Texas accent. You probably tell he's from the South, but I just put in there just for grins, just to kind of make it a little bit loose, a little bit light. So going back to this class, this is not a hard class. There's all kinds of bonus stuff. I do this intentionally. So go back to grades. I know we haven't gotten to the nutrition part of it yet. If you go down through here, like these things that say 0.1, that's all that's worth. But if you hold your mouse right here, it says 25 bonus points possible. And that's a video on water memory. That's open the whole semester. And if you do it and take the little quiz, then you can get up to 25 points. It's a simple quiz, but sometimes people miss some questions. No big deal. Even if you miss half of them, you still get bonus points. Same thing here. This is worth 20 bonus points. They're little sound bonus points. They have them throughout the website. You click on the sound, you can identify it. Go to this little sounds bonus quiz, enter it. Because there's 24 of them. And you can take the test 24 times because you can enter them one at a time. There's actually a little video and recorded videos that tells you how to get all 24 points without even listening to the sound. I'm not going to tell you how. You're going to have to watch the video and say, I don't know, which videos are you talking about? There's so many of them. You say, well, what's he talking about? I put them all over the website just for fun, just to encourage people to navigate. This is the first one. This is from like a 30-year-old movie. It says, name that movie, enter quiz here. I'm going to give you one right off bat. So I don't think anybody will know this because you guys are much younger than me, but I'm going to turn up the sound a little bit. I don't know if you can hear it because this is going through my microphone, but tell me if you can name this movie.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
You ever heard that before? No.
No, it sounds familiar though.
It does. Now, it's easy to find. Just type it in on the internet. Failure to communicate. That's from a movie. You say, hey, I know that movie. It's a 30-year-old movie called Cool Hand Luke. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you say, oh, that's it. But even if you didn't know it, just type it in. Failure to communicate. That's what the internet is. Click here. Oh, it's not linked right. But that, I have to relink that. Page not found. What's it doing? Hold on a minute. Why is it doing that on every website? It better not be. I just sound bonus quiz. Give me 1 second here. I just happen to, I know a lot about programming. I've done quite a bit with HTML and stuff, so I've got to, without messing up one of the buttons, just 1 second. I have to capture this. This, like I said, I'm still not going to keep you that long tonight, so I know I should be doing this in my own time. Valley doesn't pay me enough to do things on my own time. Anyway, sound bonus quiz. Hold on, because that link was wrong. I want to show you how it works, and I have to get the correct link in here. So 1 second. Yeah. Too much stuff in here. I know I scrolled right through it. What was that? This is it. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Just take a second. Put yourself away. What? No. Yeah. That's Canvas. Yeah, I have to paste the URL in actually 3 times. I don't expect you to know how to do any of this. That's okay. It's that's what it is. They changed it. I can remember to change it on my other sites. Otherwise, God, I hope it didn't mess it up on every single one. So hold on a second. Let me go back and see, because I want to show you this because it's bonus points. Let's see if it works now. So we figured that out with Cool Hand Luke. What does that have to do with nutrition? Nothing. It's just a little fun thing. I do it to encourage people to navigate because they're hidden all over the place. Can't find it. Hold on. Let's see if it actually takes us to. There it is. Here. So if I would have done it the other way, it would have taken away this little here button. Here. Ah, see, it did. So I got to check the links. God, I hope that's not like that in every other one. So here we go. You say, okay, so that was what we figured out one. Now this is instructor view. You won't have this view. Cool Hand Luke. You say on the home page. Like, what question was that from? Right here. What movie is the sound on the home page from? Is the sound from on the home page? Click Cool Hand Luke. Boom. Click that. And then if you go down here, save or whatever it is, submit quiz. You notice you now have 0.1. And I changed that to a 1 because it's not worth 0.1. It's hard to explain how that works. But that's all over the website. There's all kinds of these little fun things. And that's, like I said, that's just to encourage you because you'll find them all over the place. When you start reading a document, like I do this to get people to read a document, like this one right here. You click here, this document comes up, and then and then you say, oh, there's another one, and then you can take it again. And then I go in and I manually change it because I have to assign it like a certain amount of points to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth anything. So each one's worth 0.1. So if you get one right, it'll say 0.1. I changed it to a 1, which means you can get up to 24 bonus points. And you notice your average will go up a little bit each time on that. Bonus points, that's a little video. Bonus points, that's a video. Bonus points there. And if you'll notice going down through here, all these 0.1 things, bonus points, only 3, but it's a short little video. Bonus points, any other 0, out of 0, that's bonus points. That it's a mid-course feedback. Get 10 points just for doing that. That's bonus points. That's bonus points. All these 0.001 things are bonus points. That's the reason I have them in there, is so that if you want to make a good grade, you can make a good grade in this class if you'll take advantage of those bonus points. Now I got to double check every sound thing to make sure it links to the sound quiz, because that I know where a lot of them are too. If you go to I'll tell you where this one's I think worth 5. Online vitamin document. Say, I'm not going to read all this. I wouldn't either. But it's 25 bonus points just for read on what to do. You don't have to do the whole thing. But I know on vitamin Q, I think that's where I put like the 5-point sound thing. So I click vitamin Q, CoQ10. Here it is. Here's the sound. I don't even remember what it is. Let me play it.
Dirty cool, old man.
Anybody have any idea of that movie?
Is that oh my god. Oh shoot.
The guy's name is Fester, playing the pool.
No.
Addams Family?
Yep. So you click here.
That was the TV show, right?
Yeah. You click here. Oh God. That link doesn't work either. I have to go in with every sound file and put the link in.
Professor,
Yeah.
so I'm in section 01, and the Coolham loop link doesn't work on that one either.
Yeah, I got to do it in both sections, and there's links all over the place. Yeah, it's a good thing I checked that. So there are ways to do it without even listening to the sound, but I don't want to do it that way. I mean, if you think about it, if you can take the test 24 times and there's 5 or 6 choices from each one, you could just randomly go in and take the test. You click on the test and you can just guess, and you're going to get about 1 out of 5 right. And you can say, okay, I'll write those down and take the test again, enter the ones you got right, in same answer, and the ones you got wrong, enter a different answer. You see what I'm talking about? And then you'll have maybe 40% of it right. Then take it again. Keep entering the same answers. You don't only have to take it 5 or 6 times, but that's what people were doing. But I need to get those links right anyway. So going back, let me go back. I'm going to stop this share a minute. Okay, so the second code, we got about 20 more minutes, guys. The second code is 233. And when we end this meeting, I'll show you how to enter those on that little quiz. It's real simple. This class, and I did this morning. That video is actually recorded in Conference Zoom. You don't have to watch that because that's called a high flex class, which means you can meet in person or online. But it's the same thing. I mean, it's somebody asked what the first code is. First code is 434. Sebastian, 434. 434 for the first code, 233 for the second code. I'll give you a third code here in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I've been doing online for so long, I've just kind of got used to doing it this way. This is going to be unlike any class you've ever taken anywhere. It's a community college that it makes, I'm not hung up on titles. I'm not an MD. I'm a PhD. That doesn't mean that somebody knows anything. I don't care if they have a title or don't have a title. A title is just a piece of paper that you earn, that you did a certain amount to get your degree. Whether it's a PhD, an MD, a bachelor's degree, associate's degree, I mean, it makes no difference. I know a lot of people that know a lot about nutrition that have no degree. And I know some registered dietitians that are very ignorant on nutrition. I know some medical doctors that are just mind-bogglingly ignorant on nutrition. I'm not calling them stupid, I'm calling them ignorant. You know what the difference between ignorant and stupid is, right? Ignorant means you what? Somebody tell me. If you're ignorant about calculus, it doesn't mean you're stupid, it means you don't know.
You refuse to educate yourself on it?
Right, it means you just don't know. Somebody said you're ignorant speaking French, I'd say oui, because that's the only French word I know. But I'm not stupid, but yeah, I'm ignorant on French. Most people are ignorant about nutrition. I grew up in a medical family. My brother's a doctor. My dad's a retired doctor. And my brother and I, we talk about it. We agree on most of things, not everything. He's a dermatologist down in Texas. He's in clinic. Several doctors work for him. But one of the things we disagree on, and he said they teach you this in med school, and he believes it. He says that nutrition, what you eat, has no effect on your complexion. I cannot buy that. There's just no way that I can accept that. But he said, no, it doesn't. It's impossible, because I know if I eat oily food, my skin's oily, and if I don't, the skin's different. So I don't buy it. I think he said it's all heredity. I think it's a combination of both. Some people can eat oily food and get by with it. Some just look at French fries and they have oily skin or breakout. I mean, it's just, it's semantics as to, you know, arguing that kind of stuff. But most people, they don't understand nutrition at the deepest level. Now, you don't need to write any of this down, but you've heard the term think outside the box, and you're going to have to do that in this class. I guess you don't have to, but you know, the assignments are from the book and stuff. That's just standard nutrition stuff. But there's such a wealth of ignorance about nutrition out there. It's almost hard for me to stomach when I listen to some people, even on TV, talk about nutrition. They just don't know what they're talking about. It's like listening to sometimes with the coronavirus thing, even an MD that supposedly knows about viruses and the immune system, and you can tell a lot of times they don't. It's like, oh my gosh, they're actually saying that. I'm not going to get political on it, but that's a different story there. Only 1 in 4 medical schools offer nutrition. Now, I've taught anatomy and physiology. I taught in the Cal State system for years. I know anatomy and physiology. We don't go over the digestive system and the enzymes and the breakdown of proteins. That's more anatomy. This is nutrition. This is introduction to nutrition. I want you to understand the concepts of nutrition rather than the details, because the details, you've heard, you can't see the forest for the trees. That is true with nutrition. Most people can't. They just totally get lost. There's so many misconceptions. I'm going to start with a few of the falsities in nutrition that you hear all the time that people repeat, which are totally incorrect. When I taught classes for I've taught classes for physical therapists, trainers, physical trainers, you name it, even people that are going to go to med school and stuff in anatomy and physiology and that kind of stuff. And even they, a lot of times, get brainwashed on it. My gut feeling is you've been brainwashed and you've been told certain things by your parents, by your friends, by doctors. That's incorrect. Some of the advice that you're getting may actually be harming you. And especially when it comes to like diabetes, I could talk about diabetes. You could have a whole course just studying diabetes, but there's a lot of ignorance about diabetes. But some of the myths out there in nutrition are, you hear this all the time. To this day, you hear this. The most important meal of the day, they'll tell you, is breakfast. That's number one, that's complete nonsense. Anybody that tells you that is ignorant about nutrition. Now, don't tell them they're ignorant. You're going to get in a fight. They're going to call you stupid. But they are. They're just ignorant about nutrition. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. I know where that came from. They researched it. It goes all the way back to the 1700s, when there were one-room schoolhouses, and teachers noticed that students that had breakfast, they behaved better, they did better, they did better on tests, they were healthier. And another group where the kids didn't have breakfast, none of these things. They didn't have any of these traits. And so sure enough, it was a true statement. Kids that had breakfast behaved better and did better, etc., versus kids that didn't. So they started telling parents, feed your kids breakfast. And that has gone down to today. Teachers today will tell you that. Parents actually believe that, but it's not true. Back in the 1700s, if you fed your kid breakfast, you had food, which means you had money. And if you had money, you could afford housing and books and doctors and medicine and all the great things with life that made your life better and made the kids healthier. Eating breakfast was just a characteristic of that group of people. It wasn't cause effect. It was just a trait. And that's the case today. You can say, well, today, how did today? Because it's changed a lot. Well, it may be that parents still believe it, and most do. The parents that feed their kids breakfast probably are conscientious. They probably study with them, take care of them, and do other things. And they believe that breakfast is important. But it's the other things that make the difference, not the breakfast. It's just correlation versus cause effect. Saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day has nothing to do with health. It has to do with your lifestyle. If you need a little sugar fix or glucose fix in the morning because you feel better, then you're used to it. But to say it gives you more energy is ridiculous. It takes away energy. In fact, if you pay attention to your body after you eat a bunch of food, you want to sleep. There's hormones released that induce sleep. If I eat breakfast, I feel like going back to bed. I'm like, ugh, I'm tired. And there's nothing wrong with it either, but it's all lifestyle based. Saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day is like saying putting your gas in the car. Gas in the morning in your car is the most important time. No, it doesn't run any better. It's when it's empty, and the body tends to work the same way. Nothing wrong with it. But the problem with having a full breakfast, a full lunch, and a full dinner, number one, that's probably too many calories. And number two, that's not enough time between meals, which brings up the second myth, which a lot of trainers and physical trainers and athletic trainers still believe, coaches, and certain people believe, even the medical community, a lot of them believe this. You may have heard this before. Eat 5-6 little meals a day, but don't overeat to keep your glucose, blood sugar, same thing. People say blood sugar, but it's really blood glucose because there's 6 different types of sugar. There's more than that, but glucose is what cells use. But you've heard eat 5-6 little meals a day. Has anybody ever heard that before? Anybody want to volunteer that? Keep blood
I've heard
sugar?
it before.
Yeah. Not only is that not a good way to eat, that's probably the worst way you can eat. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be unhealthy if you do that, if you don't overeat and etc. But let me explain what's going on with that thinking. Is that our bodies are nothing but cells. We have about 100 trillion cells. Maybe 60 trillion, depending on what book you read. The numbers are relevant, but that's a lot. That's a lot. Cells need 2 things constantly to stay alive, and you know what they are. What is the one thing if you don't have for about 6 or 7 minutes? If you don't have it, it will kill you.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Glucose is the other. Glucose to a cell is like gasoline to a car. Cells need vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals, many things, but they got to have glucose. If a cell is deprived of glucose for longer than 6 or 7 minutes, it dies, just like with oxygen. Now, that's certain nerve cells, other cells can hang on longer. But if your glucose level goes to 0, you will die very quickly. But your body's just not going to let that happen. Even with fasting, that doesn't happen. Now, it can get low, hypoglycemic, and that's scary because you can feel tired and dizzy, feel like you're going to pass out. But there might be somewhere, some exception that you can find on the internet where somebody died from hypoglycemia. I've never heard of it because your body just, it won't, that's like dying from lack of oxygen. You can't do it. Unless you fall in a pool and drown, you can't hold your breath till you die. You will pass out, wake up, very traumatic, start breathing again. You can't kill yourself from lack of oxygen. And you can't kill yourself from lack of glucose except not eating for 2 months, and that's starvation. It'll get low, and then some people get so low they could pass out. Now that's a different issue. That's hypoglycemia. The cells need glucose and they need oxygen constantly. So that's where the mistake is made, is that people think, well, if they need glucose, keeping it normal would be a healthy. The reason it's so unhealthy to keep it normal is you don't have the oscillation going up and down. You eat a big meal, glucose level goes up, you're diabetic temporarily. And then you don't eat for a period of time, it goes down. That's oscillation. Every system in the body needs to oscillate. Lack of oscillation makes you more unhealthy to an extreme degree. That would be like saying keep your blood glucose level normal makes you healthier. That would be the same thing as me telling you keep your heart rate normal. That makes your heart stronger. Absolutely not. The way you strengthen your heart, you exercise, you get on a treadmill, you walk, you run. Heart rate goes up, you're under stress, it goes down. You exercise, it goes up. You rest, it goes down. That's oscillation. Blood pressure does that. 120 over 80. Oscillation. That keeps arteries elastic. They go in and out. That's called elasticity, hardening of the arteries. It's a disease for lack of that oscillation. Your immune system needs to oscillate. You get sick, white blood cells, T cells, B cell count goes up. And then when you're not sick, your body doesn't need as many. Getting sick makes you healthier, believe it or not. As a kid, colds and flus and viruses, they strengthen your immune system. I'm not saying go out and intentionally get the coronavirus, but people that have had the coronavirus have the antibodies. They're actually less likely to have a severe case of it later. But that's oscillation. Nutrition is no exception. You need oscillation in glucose level. You need it to go up and you need it to go down. Now, high blood glucose that stays high, or high blood sugar, if it stays high long enough, at some point, they'll say you're diabetic. The definition of diabetes is just high blood glucose. That's all it is. It has to stay high for a period of time. They have many names they give it, like pre-diabetes. Like the names, it's very confusing the way they teach it in med school. They'll say type 1, type 2. There's even a type 3, a type 4. If you get diabetes when you're pregnant, it's called gestational diabetes. And they'll say as an adult onset, or type 2 as a kid, it's juvenile. It's very confusing. Diabetes just means high blood glucose. Just remember that. It's high blood glucose. You don't need to take metformin or glucophage, although that's actually healthy because those are not hormones, but especially insulin to lower blood glucose. Although people do, doctors prescribe insulin. It lowers it, but it makes the disease worse. It's insane. It's like using insulin to treat the diabetes is like using alcohol to treat alcoholism. It's insane, but people do it because hormone replacement has some very detrimental effects. Your glucose is high and you're trying to lower it. Not eating lowers blood glucose levels, simple as that. Even if you're type 1 diabetic, which is inherited, it goes down more slowly in some people than others. You don't need to take a drug to lower it more rapidly. Now, I'm not telling you if you're on insulin to go off of it, or for relatives on it to go off of it, because it could kill them. But there's insulin it's almost like a death sentence. Once they start giving you insulin, there's almost no recovery. Talk to anybody that's ever had it. They go up on the dose every 6 months. They go up for years. You can do this, and it becomes less effective because it's damaging you. And then at some point they'll say medicine can't treat you anymore, and people go blind, they have limbs amputated. What caused that? Insulin. What are they using to treat that? Insulin. It's insane. It only treats the symptoms of diabetes. And in our next lecture, I'm going to go into more detail as to why that happens. That's a hormone. It's secreted by the pancreas. But it works. But the insulin, I want to just touch on it. The insulin damages every cell in your body, what are called the insulin receptors on the cell. Because the insulin receptors tell the cell to take glucose in. And when they become damaged, the cell doesn't take in the proper amount of glucose. So the pancreas makes more insulin, so the remaining receptors respond to it, so the cell has food and everything's happy. But your pancreas keeps making more and more, and pretty soon your pancreas will shut down, at least the pancreatic cancer. Well, what's causing that is that the insulin is damaging the insulin receptors because there's overexposure to insulin. Insulin's like an acid, it eats away the receptors and they start burning out. And at some point, they say, whoa, your pancreas is not making enough. They give you external insulin. It works temporarily because they'll give you an A1C test and you feel better, you function better, and they'll go, your diabetes is under control. But what they don't tell you is the disease is worse. The symptoms are better because that extra insulin has damaged the remaining receptors. So you keep damaging and no amount of insulin will keep you alive. That's a fact. But yet they give you insulin. Yet not eating or having more time between meals drops glucose level. You don't need insulin to do that. Even if now type 1 diabetes is a little bit different, it's inherited. You'll have to take insulin, but you don't need to take it 3 times a day, especially if you only eat once a day, which is healthy. 1 meal a day is much healthier than 3 meals a day. It's a bigger meal, but it's healthier. Now, you need healthy food like fruits and vegetables. That's what you learn in 6th grade nutrition. No question on that. My lifestyle's been alternate day fasting. One day I'll eat, and the next day I won't. And I'm not even hungry on the days I don't. I've been doing it for years. I haven't been sick in a long time. That's made a big difference. And because you get into ketosis and ketone bodies, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But I kind of give you a general rule on this. You don't have to eat less to be healthy. It's good to do that. You live longer. The less you eat, the longer you will live. I'm not talking about starvation or anorexia, but people that eat less live longer. They have less disease. But you don't have to do that. You need to eat less often. When I say less often, 3 meals a day is not as healthy as 2, which is not as healthy as 1, which is not as healthy as every other day, which is not as healthy as 2 on and 2 off. That's very hard to do, but there are people that do that. It has to do with cancer, it has to do with diabetes, it has to do with autoimmune diseases. this business of 3 meals a day has led to diabetes epidemic, a weight epidemic, just all kinds of cancer going the rise. It's all nutrition related. Heredity has something to do with it, but it's nutrition related. And this is true for kids too, even overweight kids. By the way, 90% of your weight's determined by heredity, not what you eat. So a third grader that's overweight, it's really sad. Don't blame it on just them eating. Now, nutrition affects it some, but it's mainly the parents' fault. And then their parents can blame their parents. The kids are brutal. They see an overweight kid eating, and they think it's all because you eat too much. But kids can be explained this. It's good. It's healthy for kids to do that too. It's healthy not to eat for a day. Extremely healthy. Now, like anorexia is a different issue, but anorexia is not an eating disorder. It's a body image disorder. It's where usually girls, could be guys, where a girl weighs like 90 pounds, an adult. She looks in the mirror and thinks she's fat. She looks like a skeleton, but she believes she's fat. That's nothing to do with eating. That's body image. But it manifests itself by not eating because they think they're overweight. But it starts with body image. That's why it's called nervosa, psychological nerves, anorexia. Bulimia is where you eat and throw it back up. Bulimia is grosser, but you don't die from bulimia. You can die from anorexia. Anorexia is much more dangerous than bulimia. But it's healthy for kids to do this. But be warned, if you have kids and you say, okay, Saturday is the one day of the week where we fast, very healthy. As a family to do that, get ready because Child Protective Services is probably going to pay you a visit. Saying your kid didn't eat on Saturday? Say, yeah, so what? Because people look at it as abuse. The kids look at it as abuse because they've been brainwashed into thinking that we have to eat every day. That's an evolutionary thing. There wasn't food available every day. We've evolved not to do that. And when I taught anatomy and physiology, we used cadavers in the lab. I would point out 6 organs, specifically the gallbladder, the pancreas, that point to the correct way to eat. And it's not 3 meals a day, and it's not even every day. That's just the way we're designed. But it's more of a psychological thing. And you can be healthy and eat every day. Can you be healthy and eat 3 meals a day? Yes. But I will say you're not going to be as healthy as you could be if you had more time between meals because of the anti-cancer effects. Cancer cells only use glucose. They can't use ketone bodies. They die. So when you drop glucose levels and increase ketone levels, it stresses cancer cells. Studies show that. They tend to die off more quickly than regular cells, but only in a low glucose environment. If I was diagnosed with any form of cancer, I would immediately begin a long-term fast just to attack that cancer, to deprive it of glucose. Your glucose will never go to 0. Your body won't let that happen, but it can get low enough to where your ketone bodies, which are similar to glucose, cells can use ketone bodies. Well, most cells, the liver can, and a few other cells, but your brain can. And that's called ketosis. This ketogenic diet. It has many different names. You've probably heard of that. It's very healthy. It's a very good thing. It's a very healthy lifestyle. Last thing on this, guys, and just a couple more minutes, and I'll let you go here. So we're going to talk about all these things in this class. A lot of what I'm going to tell you is the opposite of what other people may tell you, and that's fine. But look it up, research it. The information's out there, unless you put it on a video and put it on YouTube. And if the YouTube doctors don't like it, they take it down. I'm being facetious, but on fasting, they've actually taken down some of the fasting videos that I was actually using, not that I created. But one of them was really healthy. They took it down and said dangerous, and it wasn't. But it's beneficial. And there's no question about it. And if somebody tells you it's dangerous not to eat for a day, my response would be, how long can you go without eating before you die? 2 months. Normal weight person goes 2 months without food, you starve to death. In fact, one of the bonus videos, it talks about a situation where people are in that situation. They can't eat for 2 months. They keep showing day like 20, day 26. But anyway, 2 months. What they really mean is that danger of not eating for a day or two. I'll describe what they really mean. I get a headache. I don't feel good. I can't function. I'm hypoglycemic. I feel like I'm going to pass out. That's not dangerous. Those are just symptoms of an underlying condition of a glucose addiction. because they can't have any variation in glucose level because they're so used to eating every day, 3 meals a day, that any oscillation causes symptoms. The number one symptom is a headache. If somebody tells me they skip a meal and they get a headache, I can tell you a lot about your lifestyle that's not healthy. Now, that doesn't mean you're unhealthy, but you're sort of addicted to glucose. It should not give you a headache. If it drops a little bit and you get a headache, you're not used to it happening. And the body is not used to lower blood glucose level. Anything you put in the bloodstream enough, your brain gets used to it. And when it's not in the bloodstream, then your brain sends you a headache. This works with pills, pain pills, medications, glucose, everything. Alcohol. By the way, most alcoholics don't drink to get drunk. They drink to feel normal. You put alcohol in the bloodstream enough, pretty soon you don't get drunk. It takes more and more. And so an alcoholic, when they don't have alcohol, they have a massive headache, a migraine. And so they have a drink or two to feel normal, just like you would feel right now. But they need it because they're so used to having it in the bloodstream. And glucose level is no exception to that. And so be real careful about this 5 meals a day and that kind of stuff. That's not a good way. And I don't care what any athletic trainer tells you, etc. I've taught all these kinds of classes for years. I've taught weight training, and there's nothing you can eat or take, creatine phosphate, amino acids, protein powders, muscle milk. Nothing you eat builds muscle. It doesn't work like that. That's old school. Only thing builds muscle is working out, heredity, and hormones. And you don't want to take hormones for muscle building, steroids, because you'll bulk up, but you die younger. It damages the liver and the kidneys and things like that. So there's just so many things that people don't understand. Last thing on nutrition, because this is more of an introduction, is that one of the things that people get hung up on is good food versus bad food. There's no such thing as good food versus bad food in nutrition. Food is food. It doesn't have a personality, good or bad. That's a human characteristic. Humans can be good or bad. The same person can be both. Food doesn't work that way. Let me give you an example. If I said, name a good food, most people will probably say an apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple has no fat in it. So my question is, can you gain fat weight from an apple? Yes. Well, what happens? If your glucose level or blood sugar level is normal, and you eat an apple, doesn't have many calories, your glucose level goes up. Regular cells, which means insulin is released. Regular cells, so counting macros wouldn't be useful for muscle growth. Somebody asked me that. No. I'm not even sure. What do you mean by a macro? You can unmute if you want. I'm not sure what
macronutrients would basically just be carbs, protein, fiber.
No.
Okay.
No, none of that. It used to be like protein, eating extra protein builds muscle.
Oh, that's interesting.
No, it doesn't work like that. But we're made out of protein, but it's muscles use glucose for energy, not protein. In fact, the strongest animals in the world are vegetarians. Gorillas. You seen the muscles on a gorilla? It's a vegetarian. But anyway, God, now I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before? Somebody remind me.
Macronutrients.
Micronutrients?
The important. There's no such thing as bad foods or good foods. You're talking about the apple analogy.
Yeah. Oh, that good food, bad food. Okay, last thing. So you eat the apple, your glucose level goes up. Now, cells, we can overeat. Our cells won't. Your cells won't take in the glucose because your glucose is normal. So it stays in your bloodstream, but it ends up in your liver. Your liver converts the glucose to fat or triglyceride, puts it in fat cells. So you gain fat weight from the apple, which had no fat. So now the apple for you is a bad food. It's not the apple. It's the fact that you ate the apple when your glucose level was normal. And then you're not going to gain much weight because it doesn't have many calories. So you take a bad food, fries and a Big Mac, which I like. But if you haven't eaten all day, even though there's a lot of fat in that, you won't gain any fat weight because your cells need the food because your glucose is low. None of it ends up in fat cells. So it doesn't mean you can have a Big Mac and fries every day. You need some variety. The food doesn't determine whether it's good or bad. Your state of your body determines that, which is mainly your blood glucose and blood sugar level. That's what determines whether it's good or bad. So if you're going to eat an unhealthy meal in the evening, Mexican food, which by the way I like it, the American Mexican food is actually less healthy than Mexican food. Anyway, but it is high in fat and greasy. Well, I prepare myself by not eating breakfast, not eating lunch, so that none of that food ends up in fat cells. That's the time between the meals is extremely important. I want to address that last question real quick because people still believe that. You may have trainers that tell you, when they talk about macros, somebody mentioned macros, food groups, the USDA or the FDA, I don't know which one it is right now. I have this on the front page. They have it all wrong on the food groups. They'll tell you there's 5 food groups. You click on a link, it'll say there's 5 food groups. It's just mind-boggling. That's on currently in our government being taught in schools. There are only 3 food groups, not 5. Your body recognizes 3, and you know what they are: fats, carbs, and proteins. Dairy is not a food group. Fruits are not a food group. Vegetables are not a food group. Milk is not a food group. Butterfinger is not a food group. Fats, carbs, and proteins. Carbs are where, oh, USDA, My Plate. Yeah, thanks. My Plate actually says that. And there's a link to it. But there's 3: fats, carbs, and proteins. Carbs, the way people explain carbs, they'll say they're sugars. I'll give you a better definition. They're carbohydrates of plants. And plants are fruits and vegetables. We need all 3. You need all 3. But protein, even though we're made mainly out of protein and minerals, extra protein doesn't build muscle. It doesn't work like that. It ends up being converted to fat, etc. You can lose weight, the Atkins diet, by eating extra protein versus carbs. But then again, it depends upon your glucose level. But eating, like the stuff they sell in the stores, like muscle this, builds that. You may find somebody at a fitness place that's very fit, etc., and says, I take this and I do that. That's not why their muscles are like that. It has nothing to do with the food or the nutrients. It's working out and heredity. That's what does it. And heredity has more to do with it than even working out. It's hormone levels. Some people lift weights, they bulk up. Some do, they don't. It's just heredity. That's sort of the way it is. It's body type. But don't get too hung up on that. Trainers will tell you that. But they don't know anything about nutrition. They actually don't know that much about training either. Some do, some don't, most don't. I've taught those kind of classes for years. I could get into actually how muscles, what's going on and how you can bulk them up and train the body and stuff like that. But that's not part of the nutrition class, etc. But there's just so much information out there that is contrary to what is actually healthy for you. And I try to construct a class with the relevant information. There's videos on alternate fasting. There's the best video out there on vitamins. You can't get it on YouTube. I had to pay a little bit to get it and upload it. It's called Vitamania. That's several weeks from now. But this guy, he hits it spot on as far as vitamins and minerals go. People say, is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? There's different ways to look at that, but there's a lot of confusion on that kind of stuff. It's not even in a regulated industry, by the way. And a lot of the stuff they sell is just to get your money. It's that's just the way they do it. It's just like Whole Foods. I don't know, these places you go, these health food stores. It's amazing to me. Like a loaf of bread has 9 grains and a nice picture, and people running through a field. And it's got all these grains that are good for you, and etc. And it looks really good, healthy. And you look around at calories per serving, it'll go calories per slice, 110. And then you just buy plain old white bread, and it's like 50 calories per slice. I guarantee you that plain old white bread at 50 calories per slice is healthier than that other one. I don't care about the packaging. Even it is twice as expensive to buy it at the other place, because you're not deficient in any of those things anyway. If you are, it's temporary. And that's just a misconception of nutrition. That people totally miss the point. You don't have to go to these health food stores to buy food to be healthy. It's your lifestyle that actually determines that. So guys, the last code is 324. Now, I'm wanted to show you, I'm gonna do a screen share and I'm gonna end the meeting. I went a little bit longer than I needed to, and I feel like I barely even touched the surface. So in this class, so if you go to modules, if you all can go to modules, you can notice quiz number 1 right here. You click on this, and this is a different view than you'll have. Click take the quiz and enter the 3 codes, and you'll notice if you get them in, you get them right, 100%. Everybody will start off with 100%. Does everybody see that? That's from the modules section. And then I can look at the grades here from 71. That's out of, because it's out of 15. It's right here. So somebody that does that, it'll pop up. You can get to it right here too. Module 1.2, the quiz. Enter those 3 codes and start with 100%. We don't have another Zoom meeting for a few more weeks. So if you run into any problems, message me, but follow the assignments, and I think you'll be in good shape. Does anybody have any questions on anything? Any comments?
Yeah, what were the codes again? I'm sorry.
Okay, it's 434, 233, and 324.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the meeting, and you work on your assignments, run into problems, message me, and I will see you in our next Zoom meeting, okay?
Professor, I have
Yes.
a question.
Okay, in a week, so we just need to do 2 assignments for a week, right?
Right, this assignment this week, the only other one is that for this week, second week isn't opened yet, because you can work on the study guides, but the second week opens Sunday at midnight. Every week you have from till Sunday at midnight to do the assignments, and then the next week will open up Sunday at midnight. For example, if I go to modules, this week, this is the only one, this is right here, what you have to do. This module opens up Sunday at midnight. And there's the stuff you do that week. Does everybody see that? They're done week by week in the module section. Okay, guys? So take your little quiz, start off with 100%, and I will see you at our next meeting.
Professor, I'm sorry, I have a question. For the first code, do you said 434 or 434? 24 or 34?
It's 434, first one, then 233, and 324.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
All right, so because if I click on grades, I bet somebody's done that now. Look at this, see, 100%. Sebastian, so you did it already. Entered the codes. Oh, well, 100%, that's his grade so far. You got the points right here, okay? Okay, guys, take a little quiz. I'll see you in our next meeting. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good night.